The two things I think we can learn best from studying video break down into the two T's. One is technique, and the other is timing. There are a lot of things that are very critical to what we do that we can't necessarily get from video. It doesn't do everything. Factors like equipment, you know, how long somebody's sword was, all that kind of stuff. You can't modify or change that with video. You can certainly see why it was not effective, but equipment plays a factor. Experience plays the biggest factor. When we are looking at video, we don't know if the guy's been caned 20 times or if it's the second time in armor, unless we know these people individually. So experience doesn't really play a factor. We can't really do anything with experience. The only two things I think we can really improve on are technique and timing. So I'm going to go into why and how I increase my ability with those two. So, common question I get is, why do you bother with video? I know, Duke so-and-so, he's never looked at video, he's awesome. This guy just got knighted, he's never looked at video before. Why should I look at video? Well, I can't answer it as well as somebody like Masadi's can. In his class, he talks about immersion and being completely immersed in what we're doing. And video adds another level onto that. Not everybody has the resources or ability to hit a pellet hole for an hour each day, but just about everybody can get on a computer and study video for maybe 15 minutes. It's not everything, but it certainly helps. And it certainly helps us immerse ourselves in the fighting culture. And one major, probably the biggest benefit outside of technique and timing that I've been able to pull from video is I've gained a lot of experience that previously was only ever gained on this field. I don't like to keep book on opponents, but when I see a shot that I've never seen before in video, it goes into my subconscious. I remember it just a little bit. So when I'm fighting that guy, maybe I'm not as surprised when he gets thrown. Maybe it's something I start to add to my arsenal. It starts to immerse me in everything that is fighting. And I think it's been probably my biggest factor in a lack of experience is gaining all that knowledge. There's a huge amount of knowledge. Immerse yourself into it, and I think you'll be better off. Like I said before, a lot of people watch video as it was a news segment or something on TV. The real benefits of video don't really start to come out until you start to study it. Use it as a tool, just like you would use your pellet pole. You can spend an afternoon watching Duke Thorne do his thing. But are you just watching him, or are you analyzing? Are you spending your time properly on what you're seeing? Is there any thought process? Is there any goal with what? Because you really need to differentiate yourself between entertainment and training. And I think more often than not, you get lost in the moment. You have watched too much of it a day, and things tend to get missed because you're just watching, you're not really studying and training. Video gives you that historical record, that permanent record of what happened. Probably the biggest improvement outside of technique and timing to my fighting has been my ability to adapt mid-fight based on what I had seen in video. Like I said kind of earlier, you see stuff in video, it helps you adapt on the fly. You've seen this before. You've seen what somebody else has done. You can modify that to your own body, to your own technique, and you're less and less caught off guard with crazy stuff. Getting into this discussion about keeping book. Some guys like to have a historical record of every fighter within the kingdom. They analyze what they do, what they don't do, and then when they fight them on the Eric, they've kind of got a preconceived notion of this guy's going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and this is how this fight's going to play out. Personally, I try to avoid that because I think if I were to try and do that against Duke Thorne, 30 seconds in, he's going to go, oh, he thinks I'm going to do this, so I'm going to do the exact opposite and make him look like an idiot. And that's probably exactly what happened at time. So that's what I try to avoid because the unexpected can happen. And I think we're getting to a level with our fighting where guys don't necessarily have a specific style. They're not constrained to, I'm only ever going to fight you in A range and I'm only ever going to throw this one shot. Guys can do so much more now, and they can be good at all things. And so when I try to approach a fighter, I try and take some of those things I learned in video, apply them to their body type, apply them to their fighting type, and that helps me get past the first 5 seconds. After that, everything else is on the fly. And subconsciously, you just pick up things with video, and you start to break it down. One other thing that I really like with video is traveling outside of the kingdom. You fight guys from back east, in the middle, we've got these giant shields, very, very different styles than we do. And I remember, before I really got heavily into the video, fighting them at Penzic and being completely, utterly lost. With video, I got to see what did people that also use that same style do to be effective, what did people that use our style do to become effective, historical data from Best of the Best tournament. You can see what Gavin did against those guys. You can start to build an idea of what you need to do to be effective. What are the weaknesses of their style? What are the advantages of my style, and how can I break that down to make that work for me? So like I said, when I start to study video, I like to have a goal in mind. I like to have something tangible that I can take to my physical practice, my tournament. I think the thought process for a lot of people as they are training is they see of a shot, or they hear of a shot, or their night shows them a shot. They'll try to practice, then they'll try to tournament. They'll either give up on the shot because it's not successful, or they'll just kind of, put it in their arsenal. What I try and do is I try and redo that entire process and insert video in every step of that process. So, for instance, I was trying to develop an offside. I looked at a local fighter that had the best offside, which was Ulfgar. And I got video of Ulfgar, and I broke down his body mechanics for how he threw an offside. And then I went to practice the next week, and I tried to throw that offside. And I couldn't really sit properly because my ribs hurt. Because I learned a very important lesson, which was on video, yeah, he throws a great offside, it's absolutely awesome, but that does not work for my body, that does not work for the technique that I do. So what I did then was I started to film myself as I was throwing that shot on the pellet bowl. So we're going pre-attempting in practice, we're going right back down to the core where there's a shot I know I need to work on, a technique I need to know I need to work on. So now what I'm doing is I'm starting to develop that shot on my own. I'm videotaping myself as I'm doing it. I'm immediately looking at the videotape going, okay, this is why this part of my body hurts, or this is why I can only hit this part of the pellet bowl when I throw that shot. And you start to break down that shot even before you get into an engagement situation to practice. Because I think you should have a safe understanding of how your body is going to throw that shot before you get into a position where you're fighting a guy and you go like this, and he does this, and all of a sudden you can't fight for 2 weeks because your back is out. Develop a safe way of learning a technique by using video as a collaboration tool with what you're doing to make sure that you're not going to hurt yourself, you're going to throw your shot as effective as you can, and collaborate with your knights, with other people in your area, your peers that you want to work with to make sure this technique works. So you take that video of you hitting on the pal, and I go, man, Ulfgar, I just can't get this offside. What do you think? Put that on Dropbox. He takes a look, goes, well, with your body type, you might want to move your foot here, yada, yada, yada. This is how I think people need to start approaching the very basics of learning and technique. And I think for the new guys coming up, that's how I want to approach it with them, is have a real collaboration effort. And because the internet breaks down a lot of physical boundaries, when I'll look at a situation like throwing a blow while disengaging, which Duke Thorne throws very well. I've got a local fighter, maybe we don't have a resource locally that can really teach him what he needs to do. He sends the video to Duke Thorne helps him out with that, gets him to that next level. That's where internet collaboration with video is going to help us. Because instead of sending a 3-page long-winded document saying, this is what I'm trying to do and why isn't this working, you send him a 30-second clip and he goes, oh, okay, here's what we got to do. So as far as technique goes, that's a really, really crucial part of what I think needs to be done, is inserting video into those processes. So like I said, I work on that stuff at home. I get to a point where I can safely throw an effective blow. Then I take it to practice,